Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had a very good week this past 7 days and are enjoying this week as we chat now. This week I worked on a really cool pour which only includes 3 colors but metallics again. I'm working with metallic bronze as well as metallic cobalt blue and a new one for me anyway from Folk Art called Blue Violet Flash, which is a very cool color shifting metallic. Now, speaking of the Folk Art color shifting color, now when I was fixing my colors, I found that it's a very neat color. We're going to pour it down last here with my metallic bronze being first, but that the Folk Art color shifting color mixed very interesting in that it was only mixed with pouring medium, a little bit of water, and was a hint of silver as well as purple, which I thought was very, very cool. Now here's my cobalt blue, which is one of my favorite brighter colors for a dark background. I wanted to just lead on with on top of my metallic bronze, which gave a nice complementary color to the darker bronze, and also leading into my violet in a second. Now looking back on this color choice of the cobalt blue on top of the metallic bronze, I think did this pour some justice because it worked very, very well. And I wanted to as well color these corners, which were pitch black, with my ivory black from Artist Loft, which I'm using for a black background now and then. Okay, and here's where the magic begins on this pour. I really loved how this began to come out of the cup and onto the painting, and it mixed really well. It was a very smooth painting of acrylic with, I used Artist Loft pouring medium as well, and again a tad bit of water just to help with consistency for my paints across the board, and it really looked quite cool and very pretty. So this new color from Folk Art, being the Blue Violet Flash, is going to be in my top 3 of all paints so far I'm using. And just rounding out the canvas with a bit more color shift of the color shift purple. Quite pretty. Again, I would recommend this Folk Art any day of the week because again it mixed incredibly well and it's just a very nice painting. Now with my pour, I just had to go with a fairly smooth and just slow swipe with control. Wanted to get some very pretty lacing as well as some cell effects to just initially see how this color shifting paint reacted. And off my initial impressions, I was quite happy with how that turned out. And now every time I have a very good initial swipe, I'm always very skeptical of moving forward because I'm concerned that I can't do any better than I had before. So with this pour, I had some really nice color, very good contrast, and I was very happy with how my paint laid out initially, and I wanted to be very careful with how I was swiping, so I took my time and really, focused on making sure I was skimming the top of the paint and not digging in too hard into my black. Okay, now as a quick question, you guys, have you ever used any type of color shifting or pigment that you've had in your pours before or know of anyone who uses them? I'm very curious how the color shifting paintings would look together. So had I had my choice of what I was buying that day, I would have bought 4 or 5 colors versus the 2 or 3 I got. And I think these on their own would look outstanding. So again, anyone who uses any color shifting, whether pigments or acrylic paintings, I'd love to hear from you, and some comments below on your feedback on either or if you use both. And now looking back on this pour and video, I realized then, but also see it now, that I am in serious need of a bit of a bigger palette knife, a bit more wide. This took about, 12 or so swipes to get through. And I know there's a more efficient way, that's for sure. But ultimately, the swipes, looking back on the first few, look really good. And the cells are there, the lacing's there. And I was very happy with how things turned out. I had to go back to get this last portion of purple I missed out on the first go. But ultimately, I'm very happy with how this lacing turned out. Okay, as I go in for the initial beginning of the tilt, I needed to figure out where the paint was because there was quite a bit of paint on this canvas. It was quite big in comparison to previous pours on 12 by 24. And I wanted to try to maintain as much consistency on these 3 layers of paint, being the bronze and the cobalt blue and the color shifting violet, as I could, and not, go too quickly to distort the lacing and cells I made before in my swipes. I would also have to say that this combination of colors may be in my top 3 or 4 I've ever done. I was really happy with the darker background, but also the brighter colors that these 3 brought out in, again, the black ivory from my base color. I thought that the violet really began to sparkle in this light. And again, it was a bit of a silver and a violet tinge. You couldn't quite tell based on the side of my table you were looking at which color it was. Again, our view is the violet, but again, from the other side is quite silver. So this was a very cool painting to make. And now, to be honest as well, I didn't do a whole lot of tilting on this painting. I was really quite happy with how all of the colors across the canvas were working out in combination to each other. I was not sure how the color shift would react to the other paints or how it would tilt in general. So looking back at the video plus the painting as it was fall finished, I could have been more happy with how it turned out and how these colors really popped through this black. And there we go, that's it. That is where I stopped. I put it down, I thought it was good and didn't want to mess with any of the creation that I'd made. So I'm really pumped about how this turned out. There is some really neat lacing and effects in this painting all around. The color shift by Folk Art is an amazing paint. I would recommend all day, every day. And also I'm loving with the negative space on this painting too. It really did help out with the whole look of the painting. And if you have come this far in the video, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Leave me a comment below on your thoughts on this pour and what you think. I'm really excited to see what your thoughts are on the overall concept and idea and result of the painting. I really like it. I am maybe a metallics freak or fan, or maybe I like them too much, I don't know. But what are your thoughts? I really love this color shift. I couldn't say more about it. It's a very neat color, and all in all, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Anyhow, if you have enjoyed, please click that like button and check out this next playlist right here, and we'll see you again in the next one.